Hey, how's it going? It's me, Ricky Stewart. We are here with functional conditioning yoga. I'm just looking because Joey's being weird. I've just brought him in from outside and he's been very loud, very vocal. He's trying to tell me stories of chasing squirrels and whatever else Joey the cat does when he goes out. So, let's go through some stuff very quickly about what functional conditioning yoga is. It is yoga. It is stretching. It's mobility work. But we back it up with a little bit of science and a connection to all of the shapes that we make in this class. There's some learning to be had, which means I want you to adapt. I want your body to be forced to adapt to the shapes that we make in this class so that then you can use these shapes in dynamic movement and in your life and work and play and exercise. There's got to be learning. So if you just go into a yoga class and it's all very flowy and very lovely and really nice, but without any pushing or pulling or creating a connection, I'm not sure how much of that mobility you get to keep, especially if you're not doing it frequently. If you go to a class of like 5 yoga classes a week and do lots of passive stretching, you will get more flexible because you get to keep a little bit of everything that you do because your body gets used to those shapes. But with this, you really get to keep it. So I wake up with good mobility. I wake up with good cold mobility, that I have all of the ranges available to me because I'm as flexible on one side as I am strong on the other. Which means, if we look at hamstring stretch, for example, we train the length of this posterior chain to be able to touch the floor, maybe. It's not necessarily the measure of having a posterior chain that works, but I can reach the floor, but then also my hip flexors work well enough that I own that much mobility. I'm as strong on this side as I am as flexible on this side, and I can be athletic. I can be fast, I can be strong, I can relax, I can sit still for a while because all of my stuff works nice. Let's make our stuff work nice. Let's start just sat. I kind of like sitting on the edge, right on the edge of a seat, just for the beginning of yoga classes in my house. This suits me. Don't do it in yoga class in the gym because we're all on our mats and all spread out and it's all nice in that yoga scenario. But this place here gives me, I can find this. I'm all right with it. Okay. Soften your elbows down. Relax your jaw. See if you can expand your rib cage. And push your belly out as you breathe in. See if you can find your pelvic floor as well. Your pelvic floor is important for how you breathe and how you get oxygen in. Just softening my shoulders, sitting up tall, and trying to get my breathing apparatus to bring this air in. I'm not trying to suck it in through my face. I'm not trying to like do these big loud breaths, which aren't wrong. I want to practice breathing for the task at hand. And we're just sat, so it's easy. And then start moving, like you're teaching your body how to move side to side like this. Pulling the rib cage down towards your hips, rib cage down towards your hips. Keep moving. That's it. And then cross your arms over your chest and rotate. See if you can keep your face looking forwards. And feel how you can breathe normal breaths as you breathe and rotate, breathe and rotate. This movement is at a different pace to you breathing. Nice. Then if you cross your arms over onto opposite knees, pull your knees apart and curl forwards. See if you can imagine your whole torso going back like this. So you're trying to pull your sternum back and push your knees apart. And shoulders down. And tuck your chin. Be able to breathe here in this crunched up position. Then coming out. And let's just see if you can do a seated lumbar extension and thoracic extension, which means you pull the distance between your sternum and your belly button longer. You try and show your sternum up, keep your face looking forward, squeeze shoulder blades together, and see if you can sit like this in this exaggerated, proud chest, shoulders back, and you're trying to lengthen all of the front of your t-shirt. Be able to breathe here. Maybe you could pull on your knees, so your fingers go over the top of your knees and you pull back. See if you can get more extension, find all the muscles down your back, and then rock back like this, then come forwards like this. So we're doing a seated cat-cow, and it's just so different to when we do it on all fours. It's because gravity is pointing in a different direction. Be able to breathe and move like this. Okay, then bring your hands down. Let's go through cat-cow. So if you tuck your chin, push your sternum up, pick your belly button up, and try and tuck your tailbone under. Keep holding this here. Breathe. And then just only move lumbar spine. So it goes lower back, more lower back, more lower back, more lower back, into thoracic spine until you can't move anymore, and then you start lifting your chin, lifting your chest until you're looking up like this. Then we start again from the other side. Tuck your chin, more chin, thoracic spine, lumbar spine. We're back to here. It's got to come with learning this. If in between doing this all thoughtfully and one vertebra at a time, you want to try and empty one, looks like this. And that's fine. That's a different thing to when we go one little bit at a time, really trying to find connection to each individual vertebra. Go. And then show me the middle, so you're right in the middle, so you're not in extension, you're not in flexion, you're right in the middle, and you just do side bends, where you pull rib cage towards your hips, hips towards rib cage. Just get this spine to move a little bit side to side. That's it. Okay, let's just get our head around something here. When you move your lumbar spine like this, so just the very base of your back, your pelvis tilts. When your pelvis tilts, then where your femur goes into your hip, that shape changes. So you've changed where the input is. So if we come into 90-90, this is where we're going to do our hip card. So if you sit with your right leg forward to left leg back like this and lean across onto this right hand, onto this left hand, sorry. You can come into lumbar extension, and the attachment of where this femur goes into your hip goes back a little bit. And then if you come into spine lumbar flexion and pull your rib cage back and belly button back, then this comes forwards. Both of those shapes are relevant. You need both of those shapes, and the hip can perform from any of those shapes. But how that feels and how you perform depends. So if we start in lumbar extension, so if you put your hand on your lower back, pull lower back forwards, lift up this shin, point this knee up, point this foot forwards, pick this knee up, bring this foot back. I'm going to keep lumbar extension and find the edges of where this hip could possibly move. I'm always going to lean into function first. I want to see how you can move your joints around really specifically before I start thinking about adding range and putting you into stretchy shapes that add extra space for you to work with. If we can learn how to use what we've got right up to the very edges and then add range and then recheck in with function, then you get to keep and use what you've got. Okay, now you've done that, should all feel kind of tired here. If you put your hand on your belly and try and do a little crunch, like sternum to belly button, this crunches up here. And then lift this shin, lift this knee, and you can bring it forwards across your body way more because this pelvis is tilted to allow extra space, but you lose range at the back, you gain it at the front, while your lumbar spine is in flexion. That's it. And one more. Yes. And then rolling over into 90-90. The other leg. Do a bit of hip cars here. So let's start in lumbar extension. So you put your hand on your lower back and you kind of push all those vertebrae forwards. And it's really just your hands there as a little cue that you're performing. Lift up this knee, put this foot forwards, lift up this knee, and drag this foot back. Remember, it's end range training this. So I want to see you look for the end ranges. It's very sunny out today. Got blue skies in Scarborough. It's crazy. It's been so cold. So trying to lock this pelvis in whatever shape you've put it in, keep it there, and then find where this femur can perform, where it can move into. One more. Yes. And then pull rib cage back, so you go sternum to belly button, and then lift, bind these shapes, keeping the muscles in your belly tensed. Couple more. Yes. Amazing. And then let's come up into standing. Think more about how our spine works, how the muscles in our belly work, and how we can make this stuff work. So if you take a step forward, so you've got diagonal feet, I want your hips to go diagonally like this. Your chest faces me. So your chest is facing exactly forwards, your pelvis is facing diagonally. Cross your arms over your chest, keep your chest facing me and go into back extension, into flexion, back extension, into flexion. You're trying to curl up here like this. Notice how this bit here doesn't really change. So if you do a bow, if you go like this, that isn't it. You just change this loads. I want this bit here to stay still, and it's as much as the top of your back, leaning back as you can, into crunch, into extension, flexion, extension. And you should feel all of these muscles, especially these muscles here, really performing in this rotated space. Work out how to breathe in all of these shapes. Nice. Then swap legs. So diagonal feet, hips pointing diagonally, chest facing forwards, into extension, into flexion, extension, into flexion. This feels, on this side, really different for me. I feel really strong down my right side of all of my body, really. Right arm, right leg, right hand side of my muscles of my belly, obliques. The whole system on my right side is really strong. My left I always need to work at a little bit more. So you come into extension and flexion, extension and flexion. A couple more. It should be hard. Good, last one. Yes. Then let's go into some shoulder stuff. So let's get a head around this. When you hold your palm facing up, look at the peak of your bicep as your marker. This that we want to turn. I'm not that bothered about your hand turning, because your hand can turn without the shoulder turning. It's this tissue here, all of the things around here that we're looking at improving. So when you bring your arm across your body, this bicep points up. As you bring it up into this corner, it's not very high. You won't be able to get it very high without turning this. Hold it here, and then try and show me, in front of the room, the peak of your bicep. As you come up here, and behind your head, and then drag it down, trying to show the floor, the peak of your bicep. So this bit's trying to point down as you reach back, reach back, reach back, and you keep turning in that same direction until you get to here, and you're in this really far back corner. As you swing your knuckles past your hand, you get to here, this bicep's still trying to turn down. Let's change direction. Swing this thumb back, knuckles past your pocket until you find this corner, and then turn this bicep to point up, point back, and then as you come across, we land bicep pointing up, and then change direction. So get that it is internal rotation as you go up and back, and then as you bring it forwards, go external rotation as you come And I realise this is so hard. When I've got people in person, always people get here and they're like, think they've done it wrong, change it, and then carry on. And really, it doesn't matter too much. I've got specific inputs that I'm looking for. If you do it differently, it's not between right and wrong. It's just hitting as many consistent shapes as you can so that you can improve and make this shoulder behave more like a shoulder. If you get this a little bit confused, just keep going and keep going and keep pushing into the end ranges, and eventually something might click that you understand what axial rotation is and how to keep it consistent. Think about it. When I go here, it's bicep points up. I'm going on the other arm now. As I get to here, it can only internally rotate to get further, so it just keeps internally rotating as I come around until I've hit maximal internal rotation here. Keep it as I bring it forwards, and then keep it as I bring it back, and then it's maximal external rotation. I'm just laughing because it's so complicated, so many words, but really I just want to see end range work from your shoulders, trying to expand on what this shoulder could possibly do with more specific articulation, so there's no surprises, so you don't get, your shoulder doesn't do a little ping when you try and turn your alarm off in the morning and you have to reach kind of over your head and behind you, and it's a new shape that your shoulder's never done before, and it just goes ping and goes because it wasn't ready. Make it ready. Show it that you can do this stuff. Okay. Then just move your neck side to side. That tends to wake up a load of trapezius muscle stuff for me. It feels kind of nice once I'm done to move this neck around. All right, let's get into some hip stretches first. We're going to start lying down. We'll stay down on the floor as much as we can. Okay, so if you lie down, I want you to put your left foot down and right ankle onto your thigh. Take your right hand and slide it under your calf. There's only one calf that you can reach right now. It's this one. Slide your hand under your calf, grab hold of your knee. With this other hand, I want you to grab hold of your heel and then pull this in towards you like this, with your head down and trying to keep your coccyx down. So you've got this hip in external rotation, and we just breathe. And you should explore this side to side a little bit. See if you can show your body all of the stretches that are available to you in this shape. And then just breathe more. Push your belly out as you breathe in. Keep hanging out in this passive stretch. We need to spend a fair amount of time here to get this to count, to get it to work. Where my shoulders lift changes things as well, so I can pull my shoulders down into the floor, down away from my ears. It changes things. I can even pull my lower back into a bit more extension. It changes things again. I can curl my lower back around so it's almost like lifting my coccyx. Changes things again. All of these things are relevant. None of those shapes are right or wrong. We just make different lines of tensegrity, different lines of stretchiness and contractions, and all of this really specific, these specific shapes. Now, like always, we do a little bit of work in the stretches that we get into. So if you let go with your hands and keep this shape so nothing springs away, I want you to pull this thigh towards your ankle, and your ankle pushes back into your thigh. So this hip flexor and the outside of this hip are fighting against each other. And keep holding. Keep holding, keep holding. Keep fighting with this hip and this hip flexor. In 3, 2, 1, grab hold of your shin. Drop this foot down. I want you to own this, so pull it in as far as it'll go into passive stretch, maybe even push this knee away a little bit, and then let go with your hands and just see if you can hold it and tense your belly, and maybe put 2 fingers against your ankle and give this ankle something to push back against. You can keep showing yourself a bit more range, see if you can get a bit of more control out of this end range, and then add more tension with your hand, pushing the ankle away. Go in 3, 2, 1. Then straighten out this leg. That same leg you've just done, make your knee right over the top of your hip socket and go external rotation of the thigh, internal rotation of the thigh. External, internal, external, internal. So you should be able to feel this femur twisting like this in its socket. This whole shin is trying to spin around both directions. There we go. Okay, let's try this on the other side. So plant this right foot down, put your left ankle onto your thigh. Oh, get that zip out of the way. That's it. Now with your left hand, it slides under your calf. Get that, because people always do something weird and like go like this or this or this or this. Left hand goes under the calf. Pick up this knee, grab hold of your knee, grab hold of your ankle and pull this in for passive stretch. Just breathe here. Shoulders down. Keep hanging out. Maybe move a little bit side to side. Just keep holding and breathing. Push your belly out to breathe in. Keep holding, shoulders right down away from your ears. You need to spend like as long as you possibly can to persuade your body that this stuff is relevant, that you can learn from it, and your body will adapt. If you don't hold it long enough, your body won't have to adapt. And then slowly start letting go. Own this shape. You pull your knee backwards and you push your ankle forwards, and they fight against each other in this shape. Keep loading up. This hip flexor, I think, is probably going to work hardest out of the two, or it is on me anyway. That's fine. The weak link is the weak link. You just need to work on it and keep getting it stronger until it can pick up. Keep holding and breathing. 3, 2, 1. Drop this foot down. Hold on to this ankle. Straighten out this leg. Just find this end range and then let go with your hand. Push this ankle away. So you're trying to pull your ankle into your fingers. Keep holding it, breathing, holding and breathing. Push this ankle into your hand. Keep it going, keep holding, going 3, 2, 1. Hold this knee up. Go internal, external rotation. Show this hip how to be a hip. This stuff's important. Swinging it heel towards your face, heel goes out that way. Heel towards your face, heel goes out that way. While we're lying down here on our backs, before we go into some hamstring stretch stuff, let's think a little bit about the muscles of our belly. And when you say core strength training, core training, it's so vast. There's so many jobs that these muscles here have to do. Let's just talk about being able to keep these muscles stable to be able to be strong here. So if you push the small of your back into the floor, lift your knees, lift your heels, push your heels together and put your hands against your thighs and just push. So you're trying to push your hands away, you're trying to pull your knees in. And feel these muscles here turn on as you push and breathe. Keep holding. 3, 2, 1, and then hug your knees back into your chest. And then roll back up in seated. Let's try that again from here. So if you go like this, sit up tall, feet together, and push your hands down into your knees, you should be able to feel the muscles in your belly tense. Can you keep them on as you take your hands away? Keep this stable, and then try and find hamstring stretches. Maybe you can touch toes, maybe hands on ankles, maybe hands under your knees. Let's breathe here. Keep looking for hamstring stretch. Trying to keep your torso as tall as you can, your belly as far forwards as you can. It helps me once I've got hold of my feet. It helps me here. You can use a belt or a dressing gown belt or anything really, like a yoga strap around your feet to be able to give you something to show you how to keep this back flat if you haven't got the range to be able to grab hold of your feet. Just keep hanging out here. A little bend in both of these knees, so there's a little bit of play. Keep breathing. Then start tucking your chin. And see if you can curl over more. Bring yourself, so your back is now part of the deal. So you're curling your back around, and you're showing the back how to be in flexion here, so we find more stretch. Relax your jaw, just keep hanging out. Then bring your hands down. With a little bend in both knees, push your heels down. And keep trying to pull the floor toward you. I want tension in the hamstrings. Your hands either side of your knees or either side of your thighs. Sit up as tall as you can, but bring your belly forwards and keep pushing down. Keep pushing, keep pushing. And this next bit is going to be the hard bit. You push your hands down, push your feet together, maybe point your toes. Now we try and lift from the thighs to lift our feet, but we're not actually bothered about them lifting. But I do want muscles in the belly and hip flexors to connect to this. Just keep pushing down and keep lifting. Not after air time, because you can have air time like this if you want, just after connection. And it might get a little bit crampy. Keep lifting, going 3, 2, 1, and then stretch again. You don't need to be holding onto your feet. If that's not your range, hands under your knees, hands anywhere that works. Okay, and then rolling up onto all fours. And just show me lumbar extension. So, push your chest up, tuck your chin. It's only lumbar spine that moves. Keep pushing your chest away. And show this lower back how to perform these shapes. Then do a little side to side bend. Let's finish off with a little bit of hip cars with your spine completely locked in one place. So let's try and do this while we do cat pose. So you push your chest up, tuck your chin under, and lift this knee. If you can get this knee much higher than this, then you're cheating. Your lower back is doing the thing. Well, as soon as I change my lower back, I can do this, which is fine. It's a legitimate shape that your body should be able to make, but I want to see if you can keep your spine like this shape. Lift this knee, bring it out to the side, try and touch your knee to your elbow as you bring across, bring it back, and touch this knee to elbow, bring it across, bring it back. Every time your knee passes the floor, it should just skid gently. There we go. Let's try this other side. So lifting the knee, bring it around. Keep this going. One. And then just do a little bit of lumbar extension to flexion. Perfect. Then coming back up into seated. And just do a little fidget before we finish up, before we finish with how we started with breathing. You move your neck. And just soften everything and let your eyes close. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Push belly out to breathe in. Draw your belly in to breathe out. Just slow your breathing right down. Doesn't need to be the deepest breaths. Bring palms together. Thumbs to forehead and tuck your chin and roll forwards. Namaste. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. That was a fun one. I enjoyed that. I'm liking the hip stretch there that we did. It was cool. Very good. That was cool. Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Right, enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you all, as always, and I will see you very soon.